welcome back to another episode of Raving Eagle Media Presents Rob and Mike's Nostalgia, News, and Nonsense. So, what's next on the docket?
We have The Wonderful World of Star Trek, which I've been a Star Trek fan since I've seen the original series, even though even today, The Wonderful World of Cardboard Bridges stands up great. But anyway, Star Trek, the original verse, prime verse, depends on what you want to call it, versus the Abrams verse, which is, I guess, Abrams / whoever's directing it now, the new universe we're going into in the movies. No, we are not going to get into the CBS stuff about the new stuff that just is working its way out about TV series. I know you want to talk about it. We don't got enough information. There's not really a need to get into it. When we get some more information, or you guys stick us a link in our comments, we'll take a look at it, and then we'll come back to it if you feel the need, or if there's enough information to make a decision. Because there's really nothing out there besides the fact that CBS is a bunch of punks to really make a decision on this. Because
we're not discussing the politics. We are not going near the whole Axonar thing. Thank you.
Same thing. It is who it is. Whoever makes it beginning owns it, not secondary rights and all that crazy nonsense. Don't care. Not going to get into it. We're going to stick with what we want to get to. So we just blew 2 minutes off the top about nonsense. So, Star Trek Prime Universe. What do you think, brother?
I grew up with that. I mean, yes. TOS was syndication. I watched it, as a kid. And then, I was growing up really when, TNG first started, and I went all the way through DS9 and Voyager. And you know what? Some people don't like it, but Enterprise had its moments.
Not so much.
Did it beat itself to death with the whole Xindi thing? Yes, sadly. But that's neither here nor there. I like what they did with the Abrams universe, how they springboarded it. I mean, right away, you start seeing things that tell you, wait, this isn't the universe you know. I mean, Kirk's father dying. Come on. That whole thing right there showed you we were somewhere we've never been before.
Well, and the thing with the Abrams universe and the original universe, the first thing is the original universe, there's how many hours between the original movies, the original series, all 3 seasons, Next Generation 7, Deep Space Nine I think was 7, Voyager had 7, we're getting a pattern here, and then Enterprise, bombed at 4, and the last episode made it almost unwatchable. Besides that, there was some good stuff in Enterprise, but I gotta disagree with it. It's, Quantum Leap of Price was just not enough. There wasn't enough depth to make me want to like it, because it didn't run long enough to be good. Next Generation, by its 3rd or 4th season, had enough depth, it had enough original pieces of the original series to make it fun for me to enjoy. Enterprise, there's just not much there. Deep Space Nine's probably, in my particular world, the best of the bunch, because you get pieces from multiple places, between the movies, between Worf showing up, between Next Generation characters sneaking in. You get some unique stuff. Q, obviously, awesome sauce right there.
John
Delancey. Yeah, Delancey is just awesome. But when you start comparing the Prime Universe to the Abrams verse, I think the thing you got to realize is Abrams verse has literally 2 movies and about to be 3. That's it. So you do not have enough to really say this is horrible or not. I think the Abrams verse is going to be a little more gritty of a Star Trek universe. The original one, by the time you got to Kirk's time, everything had cleaned up. We'd fixed the planet. We were building starships. We were going all over the place. Vulcans and us were playing nice, relatively. And the Federation had expanded all over the place, and the only thing we had to worry about is Klingons, which, blah, no big deal. And because they just couldn't stand up to it for a while. But and the Klingons were later. Romulans, Klingon. Romulans first, then Klingons. Okay, so I'm getting retarded here. But I think the Abrams verse, if you have a little more time, if the new stuff is integrated with it in the new series, I'm not going to go much more than that, but if they integrate and they can play nice, you can have some amazing stuff. If you're going to fight and make a crappy 2-3 universe thing, it could get all jaunty. But I think both have their points. I think the Abrams universe, it's a different timeline, so it's a different little jaunt. And even at the point where Kirk's dad died, the timelines weren't exactly parallel anyway. Stuff had happened somewhere back. You could even go to the point of, say, Enterprise screwed with, the 1940s during World War II, screwed and didn't fix it all the way up, and at that point that universe skewed off and became what became the Abrams universe, which is actually kind of a nice way to clean it up. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, like I've said to some people, if you look at Enterprise and you look at TOS, excluding the Mirror Darkly episodes, because of how divergent these styles are, but you look at Enterprise and you look at the designs that the designers put into the Abrams universe stuff, you can see more of a connection. And like you just brought up one of my points. Okay, so yes, the time agent told Archer that, oh, things are being readjusted now.
Doesn't mean it's back exactly the way it was.
Because everything that they screwed with before, you know, the Renegade in World War II was still screwed with. You know, we met the Klingons earlier. All this stuff. There was still things that you could say even Enterprise is off of Prime Universe. It doesn't actually go with it. But it still kind of fits more in with Abrams' verse. And like you said, it had its points. Was the, you know, finale good? It rushed a lot of things. It really did.
It really killed the series for most of us.
Yes. I wasn't, you know, there was a couple of pieces in the finale I liked, like, you know, hearing Archer start his speech. That was one thing. But the whole holodeck thing, that...
I didn't mind the Pegasus tie-in, actually. The Riker-Pegasus tie-in.
It wasn't...
I thought that was okay. I think the killing off of Mr. Number 2, and we're just going to stop at that. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. I'm sorry, you have to watch it. It's kind of like you got to stomach it down, churn it through. It's like watching the last episode of MASH, which I have not done yet, and I never will do. Hopefully I'll die first. But
I have.
Yeah, and I can just ask him and be depressed about it later. But anyway, I think both universes are good. I think there's great things with the Abramsverse to come forward, but they need to skew a little bit away from the original movie series. You know, we didn't need Star Trek Into Darkness, a wrath of, you know, whatever you want to call it, whether you
Wrath of Vulcan?
Yeah, no joke. I mean, you pretty much took a Wrath of Khan, pretty much everybody's, I would say 90% of the population's, Star Trek fans' population's favorite movie, and you bastardized it to just remake it in a different way. You flip-flopped it, just for fun.
You threw who was in the reactor room, and, you know, there was, as much as we say, you know, a Wrath of Vulcan, a Wrath of Khan, whatever you want to joke about calling it, there was one good thing about it. For those who didn't realize it in the first movie, it reminded you that in this universe, Spock did not take Kolinar. He accepts his emotions, though he tries to control them, because no Vulcan would have given in, no true Vulcan would have given into that rage. He gave into that rage, and if Uhura hadn't stopped him, he would have murdered Khan on the roof of that little shitty transport.
And you just can't be killing off Sherlock. That's just not cool. But anyway, I think both have their points. I think kind of we're bad about wrapping stuff up. We just kind of roll and keep ranting for no apparent reason. But I think the Abrams universe, we're going to go check out Beyond later I think it's next week. So it's like the 15th today, so it's like the end of next week. We'll go check that out, let you know what we think. I'm looking forward to it because I enjoy both for what they are, but not for... Because they're both different. They're different timelines, they're different time frames. They're not filmed at the same time. That's like comparing, you know, 1984 Transformers Animated, which was a great big music video for Hasbro to make lots of cool new characters and kill off the original guys, which I don't think there's any Prime guy. Oh yeah, we got Maximus behind him. Scoot your head over. Maximus is cool. He's awesome. If you need a Transformer, spend $1,000 and get one complete. Mine's missing a few pieces. But anyway, they wanted to kill off the G1 stuff, and that's what they did. But it was still awesome because Orson Welles' last thing he was in, even though it was just voice of Unicron. The voice cast is amazing. Go check it out now that I'm totally in my own little universe here. Let's go back to Star Trek.
Yeah.
That's like comparing that to the steaming pile of Happy Michael Bay nonsense that just... That's what we're talking about. And now I just screwed that all up.
Yeah, you see how passionate he got about that, people.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's watched all of them. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, you can't be messing with Transformers. That's my childhood happiness back here. Anyway, to conclude, I like both for what they are. I'm not sure he's the same way on
No,
that.
I do. I enjoy both for their merits. Like I said, I find, you know, Abrams' verse to be more in line with Enterprise and not with, you know, the original. But it's not supposed to be. It is what it is. It's its own separate thing. You know, everything from Prime Timeline was more derived from Roddenberry, where this is, you know, the starting legacy with some of its own parts. Like Mike said, you know, it's grittier. It's, you know, it's taking into account, you know, the captain really is not in most cases supposed to be leaving the ship. That sort of stuff. So it's trying to do a classic in its own direction.
And this is two honorable mentions for the original series. First, anybody that hasn't seen the original Star Trek, when did those come? 60 what? Okay, Star Trek original series, Kirk, you know, William Shatner and all that. If you haven't seen them, go watch them. Even though they're rough, they're hard to watch, it's hard to stomach some of it. Look at the diversity in the cast. It took another 25 years for us to get that in the world. And we need to understand that Roddenberry was, you know, he's the creator of Star Trek, so no matter what you think, he did an amazing job. But even more so, he put that kind of diversity in a series well before anybody else thought about that. I mean, Uhura's there.
Yeah.
You got Chekhov, you got Sulu, you got pieces from all over the world working together.
Yeah.
And you even got a random alien in the bridge, which is...
Like Mike said, the diversity of it, Spock being on the bridge, an alien as the, you know, second in command.
Yeah.
On top of that, you know, watch some of the episodes. Like you have, you know, women serving in...
Command functions.
I mean,
we're talking 60s.
Look at Nichelle Nichols. In most of her interviews, she says how she was going to quit. And Dr. Martin Luther King told her, you can't do that. You are second in command. You are an inspiration. Third. Okay, third. Sorry.
Spock. So.
Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking Spock.
But she was
first
an inspiration for a lot of people, and a lot of people have said that.
The War Games episode with the two planets that had the disintegrators and the combat computers that ran war simulations that they had to kill people. The one member of the away team, one of the nameless red shirts, was a young Asian woman, and she was their security personnel. When that agent comes through the door, she kicks his ass. You know, I mean, diversity. We're talking about the series that did the first interracial kiss on television.
Then had a green and white kiss too a couple of times. But anyway, so the original series needs more props than I think it gets from a lot of people. Was it cheesy? Was it cardboard sets? Yes. But it did a lot of things that were really good for the world in general. It started making people look at everybody being more equal, which, you know, for many things, we never seen a lot of this because we're too young to remember a lot of that. But I think looking back at it, a lot of people, Roddenberry himself said, and his wife did, that, you know, we were really trying to do some of this stuff and we were trying to improve it. The new series, the Abrams universe, and the same thing. They're trying to make certain characters in ways that, you know, George Takei's like, well, I'm not really okay with this because that's not what Roddenberry envisioned. I have a lot of respect for Takei. He's an awesome actor. He's a great guy. He goes out there and he tries to help, whether it's his cause or anybody else. He's always out there trying to do what he thinks is right, not necessarily what's politically correct. So, and I'm not a politically correct person by any means.
No.
So,
no.
I think he's an awesome guy, and I think for him to say, hey, you know, let's not just do it just to do it. Let's do it if it makes sense, and we're not going to give much more away about that. We'll talk about it in a week and a half. But let's do it if it makes sense. And I think that's one of the lessons from Star Trek. Don't push just to push. Try to make it have a natural evolution of the way the world is. Like, and we'll actually do a spiel on Next Generation and DS9 in a minute because I really like those two series, but we don't like making our videos too long because we don't want you to have to sit and chew it all down at once. We want you to be able to take 10 minutes or so, watch it, watch something else. But I'm a big Star Trek geek, even more so than Star Wars in a lot of ways. So,
yeah. And I have just one last thing to say, you know, because we are going to go into some of the other ones like Mike said. But with the new movie, put the politics aside because really there's two things you, as a fan, that you need to see. Because this movie owes two tributes to two actors. One, Leonard Nimoy for Spock Prime. They do owe him a tribute during this. And of course, the tragedy that befell New Chekhov, unfortunately, with the accident with his car at his home. So this movie does owe them tributes. And
I'm sure we'll see it.
That's one of the reasons I'm going. I want to see that they were paid proper respect in this last thing. So, as always, people, thank you for watching. Comment below. Let us know anything that you think about the show.
Good, bad, ugly. If you think I talk too much, which I do, let me know. If you think he's boring, let us know. If I'm boring, let me know. If you got any questions about anything up here, I've had most of this stuff since it was new. We got a Civil War going on up top with Cap and Iron Man. I'm not sure you see it. But we'll adjust it next time and let you guys see a little more of the stuff up top. Crazy Legos. We just got this guy. Pick this guy. If If you want one, GameStop, $5. I don't like giving plugs to companies, but that's an awesome price for this spiffy guy. All they have is Gordon that I seen. The other 2 were sold out. So go find it if you like these. These are usually 20 bucks. Thanks all, and we'll be back in a few minutes because I really wanted to get into the next generation in DS9, but I didn't want to make the video an hour long.